Hello there.
Welcome back, Fanfield family. Today we're going to look at a topic that I see a lot of people struggling with or just outright misunderstanding. Let's talk about hyperspace. I see a lot of people saying that hyperspace is just moving faster than the speed of light, but that's not quite right. Hyperspace is a bit more nuanced than that. I think a lot of people get confused because Hans says,
It's like an Imperial cruiser. Our passengers must be hotter than I thought. Try and hold them off. Angle of the deflector shield while I make the calculations for the jump to light speed. Jump to light speed. Light speed.
so what is hyperspace then? Well, the key is in the name, hyperspace. Hyper as in greater or above, and space as in, space. It's quite literally a temporal spatial dimension above the one that we normally inhabit, which is called real space. It's a dimension higher up, and in this higher dimension, space and time function a bit differently. It requires less distance to move between two set points. Any Minecraft players in the audience will be familiar with the strategy of using nether highways for faster travel. 1 block traveled in the nether, an alternate dimension, is equivalent to 8 blocks in the overworld. That's exactly what this is. You enter hyperspace at one point, then drop out of hyperspace at your destination. Because of this, a trip across the galaxy that would take thousands of years in real space only takes hours in hyperspace, making it absolutely essential for all kinds of travel: commerce, politics, even warfare. There are two main ways to access hyperspace, the former far more common than the latter. First, the hyperdrive. This is a part of a starship's engine system that allows the ship to punch its way into hyperspace. Second, purrgil. Purrgil, or star whales, were creatures that swam through space, and as part of their migration they entered hyperspace. We've seen a few individuals either willingly or unwillingly tag along. Ezra brought Thrawn along with him at the end of Star Wars Rebels, and in the Ahsoka show, Ahsoka Tano and the Jedi droid Huyang settled their ship inside a purrgil's mouth to travel to wherever Ezra and Thrawn had ended up. Hyperdrives were, of course, the more common method. A hyperdrive allowed the ship to momentarily tear a hole in the fabric of reality and slip into hyperspace. That's why the ship seems to vanish. It's leaving real space and entering this higher dimension. From inside the ship, that stretching of the stars that we see is from that slip into the alternate dimension, momentarily mimicking the speed of light. From a relativistic perspective, the ship is moving faster than light, and that's what we see as the ship accelerates into hyperspace. Once inside hyperspace, that iconic blue tunnel is all that those inside see, and it's what I themed today's background image on. Because of the precision needed to ensure that the ship arrives where it's intended, computer systems usually did the calculations. With improper coordinates, it's possible to emerge from hyperspace too close to the destination to slow down effectively, or even to emerge inside of a star.
Take a few moments to get the coordinates from the Navi computer.
You kidding? At the rate they're gaining?
Traveling through hyperspace ain't like dust and crops, boy. Without precise calculations, we'd fly right through a star or bounce too close to a supernova and then it'd end your trip real quick, wouldn't you?
That said, there are a handful of hyper-intelligent species, or species that are naturally gifted with mathematics that can calculate hyperspace coordinates in their heads, most notably the Given from the planet Yagdul and the Sinatine from Mileva. You've probably heard the term hyperspace lane before. Hyperspace lanes, hyperspace routes, hyperways, star routes, or hyperlanes were paths deemed safe for hyperspace travel, specifically explored and studied to ensure nothing could disrupt the path. Black holes, with their massive gravity, could distort the space-time even inside hyperspace, so it was dangerous to travel too near them or other massive gravitational objects like stars or large planets. Hyperspace lanes were designed to avoid these, allowing for easier and safer hyperspace travel. Gravity generators could be used to pull ships out of hyperspace under the same principles of black holes disrupting hyperspace travel. Large capital ships called interdictor ships had these and could easily sit along the outside of a hyperspace lane, just pointing the beam into the lane, and any ships traveling in hyperspace would simply be pulled back into real space. Hyperrapture or hyperspace madness was a sort of psychosis induced by staring into hyperspace for prolonged periods. The minds of creatures inhabiting the third and fourth dimensions were not adequately prepared to handle observing higher dimensional spacetime, and thus this could drive beings mad. Standard Imperial protocol was to turn the windows opaque when traveling in hyperspace to avoid this, though Darth Vader enjoyed staring into it, watching the swirling patterns. Of course, Vader himself wasn't really all there in the first place. He was a man that had lost everything. He was psychologically and emotionally shattered, so this sort of thing may have been soothing to him.
Anakin's gone. I am what remains.
Of course, hyperspace madness isn't the only thing dangerous about hyperspace. There are creatures living in hyperspace, horrible monstrosities known as star weirds. These creatures could simply manifest on ships traveling through hyperspace and unleashed a telepathic scream, not unlike the dark side power Force Scream, which could injure and terrify those that heard it, even through the vacuum of space. So, how fast is hyperspace travel? Well, I don't want to throw tons of numbers at you. Numbers are math and math is for nerds, so let's use a concrete example and you can extrapolate from there. The distance from the galaxy's capital, Coruscant, to Alderaan was around 5,000 light years. At the speed of light, it would take 5,000 years to make the trip. With hyperspace technology, the trip took around 16 hours.
Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go faster, 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 faster.
The Star Wars galaxy is approximately 120,000 light years across, so being able to traverse those kinds of vast distances in hours or days rather than millennia was absolutely vital to the expansion and exploration of the galaxy. Finding ways to traverse immense galactic distances is a staple of science fiction. Star Trek has warp drives, A Wrinkle in Time has tesseracts, Doom has its hell portals, Halo has slipspace, and so on. When your science fiction story takes place across multiple planets, you need a way to explain why your characters aren't just sitting on their hands for weeks while they travel between worlds. Hyperspace from Star Wars is a solid example of faster-than-light travel that actually has a decent bit of development beyond just, lol, it works. Star Wars is full of this sort of thing, concepts only passingly mentioned or hinted at in the movies that get a ton of development in expanded canon like comics, novels, games, and more. I love that sort of world building. You don't need 5 hours of exposition right up front to set up your world. You can ease a viewer in and build the world up around them. So what do you think of Hyperspace? Did you know how it functioned before watching this video? Did I miss anything important? Is there another franchise as faster than light travel that you like more than Hyperspace and Star Wars? What would you like me to cover next? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I love making these videos for you to watch, so if you enjoy this kind of content, please consider leaving a like, a comment, and hitting that subscribe button. There's a new video every Friday, polls, posts, and more, and you can always leave a comment on any of my videos to request a topic. If you want to watch a video on the Star Weirds, which we touched on briefly today, click here. Or click here for a video on every single piece of Mandalorian equipment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.